Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at the final episode of Katsugeki Touken Ranbu, episode 13, and I will be talking about the series as well. So, first and foremost, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this episode. That fight scene between our teams versus the 1,000 soldiers, that was freaking incredible. Holy crap. You know, this is what Ufotable can do best, and it's noticeable right then and there. The music was on point, the animation was stylish and stellar. It was probably the best scene of this whole show so far. And this show has had some really nice fight scenes. So I will say, if you had to watch this week's episode for anything, it would just be that 2-minute long fight. Because that was like the whole thing to me. Like, that was the best part of this whole episode. You know, everything else in this episode was hit or miss. Obviously, we get the whole concept of getting Kunihiro back on teams, the second team, and, you know, I think that wrapped up a little too nicely. I feel like we could have went a little bit deeper into this, you know, tension-filled type thing, or at least had it where it was a little harder to convince him, but it seemed like, oh yeah, you know, let me convince you one more time now, because you changed things slightly, and then you'll just join us again. I mean, it was a little too on the nose, so I wasn't too happy with that, but other than that, you know, the episode worked out fine. It was a nice, solid kind of conclusion. Many people might be confused on why I consider this the series finale, because what was announced at the very end of this week's episode after the credits rolled was a movie for Katsugeki Touken Ranbu. And I'm happy about that. That's pretty badass that we're going to get a movie of it. I can't wait to see that, because I can only imagine if Ufotable's doing a movie for it, it's going to just be stylish all over the place. It probably cost a lot of money. And that, you know, I hate to say it, but money in anime obviously does matter. So I can only imagine that it's going to be incredible. It really is, and I'm so pumped for that. So I doubt we're going to get a season 2. I'm presuming we're not even going to get a second core. We're just going to get the movie. That'll be kind of how everything wraps up nicely. So, you know, I do have some mixed feelings, though, because of that. Not because of the movie. You know, I'm excited for the movie, don't get me wrong, guys and girls, but I'm not happy that at the same time, it feels like this whole show kind of was a little over too quickly. That's the best way I can put it. So with that being said, let us talk about, you know, the whole series as a whole. So, first and foremost, you know, the story-wise for Touken Ranbu was, or Katsugeki Touken Ranbu, was a nice, you know, breath of fresh air in comparison to the comedic slice of life version of Katsugeki, or excuse me, Touken Ranbu. That had come out many years ago, was done by a different studio, and like I said, I've seen the first, I think, episode, maybe it's 2 episodes of it, and it was bad. At least to me. I mean, I know some people who love it because of, obviously, I think it's more geared toward the female fan base, but it was just constant fan service sword boys, and just this overwhelming story of just nothing happening. You know, there was no real action to it. There was times where stuff did happen, but it was not, you know, a fun show to watch, at least for me. I mean, I know some people who loved it, I know some people who hated it, so I know that there's definitely the middle ground for some people who love it and hate it, but, you know, I was more on the latter end of just not liking it. But luckily, Katsugeki Touken Ranbu had a story. It had characters that were very interesting. I wish I could remember all the characters' names. I give credit to anyone who can, but their names are incredibly hard to remember because they're going off of, like, more traditional Japanese names and stuff like that. And, you know, besides Kunihiro, who's probably the easiest one for me to remember, you know, everyone else, their names were so incredibly hard. I'm sorry about that, I really am. And I got some flack for that, because I was like, can you not remember any of their names? No, I can't remember any of their names. Just terrible names. But, you know, the story was pretty good. I liked the whole idea of kind of saving history and having our sword boys essentially go and fight various threats against history and stuff like that, against the Time Retrograde Army. I think that worked out fine. I feel like it wasn't a stellar story, mind you, but it worked out an enjoyable story. It worked and had little concepts and moments where things were really suspenseful. You did feel for some of our characters, especially when they met their original masters. And the idea was cool, you know, because it blended sci-fi and historical concepts together really well. Animation-wise, there's no thing really question here. It was fantastic. Katsugeki Touken Ranbu, if the story was okay at times, the animation always made up for it, because of the fact that when the fights were happening, or when just characters were talking on screen, it was just so jaw-dropping to watch, because you were like, what? Wow, I can't believe that anime could look this good. And that's one thing I love about Ufotable. They really push the bill. You know, they have some times where the story sometimes takes a little hit because of it, because I notice a lot of their shows, the story's a little mediocre, but animation quality, you can never really second guess them. They always do a great, you know, job with their animation. Music, very good. I had no issues with the music. I had no issues with the voice acting. I thought it was all fine there. And overall, it was an enjoyable experience. I really did like Katsugeki Touken Ranbu for what it did, and I feel that many people out there were also liking it, because I mean, I see a lot of people commenting and have been talking with me via my comments on the YouTube and etc., even on Twitter, saying that they enjoyed the series so far for what it is. So, with that being said, what would I rate this show, given that it didn't have the greatest storyline at times, but it was an enjoyable story, it had some beautiful animation and music, etc. If I had to rate Katsugeki Touken Ranbu from an A through F, I would have to give it a solid B. I think it fits perfectly with that. I was almost hesitant on giving it a B-, but it's more so I'm trying to keep this not too biased, and I feel like what I had issues with the show, maybe people probably won't have the same issues. This is again geared for more a female audience, not really a male audience. It does have the male audience element in terms of the action and stuff like that, but obviously with all the characters being dudes, this was meant for more of the tome scene. It was made for girls who were into the visual novel for the series, not for dudes that were into it really. I mean, well, probably are dudes that are into it, but it was geared obviously for girls first and foremost. So I have to make sure not to take too much out of that, because as a whole, it works for that genre, and I know for a fact that a lot of girls that are watching this are absolutely in love with it, so I will say that right now. I completely get that. But yes, Katsugeki Touken Ranbu, I enjoyed it. I think it was a solid show. I can't wait for the movie. It would have got a higher score had the ending been a little bit better. Maybe some of the story would have been better at times, but for what it was, it worked, I think, and I think a lot of people will like it. So I definitely do recommend checking it out if you're waiting until the end of it or waiting for people's reviews for it. Anyways, guys and girls, I will talk to you later. I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, if you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video around, etc. You know what to do. I was supposed to review Foxman Matchmaker, but I don't see that episode out, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'll probably review it when it comes out later today, hopefully. If it doesn't come out later today, I'll announce it on Twitter because I can't get to it. It's going to be kind of interesting, because tomorrow I'm not going to be doing a lot of reviews either, and Monday I will not be doing reviews till later afternoon, so I hope you guys understand that. But I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Anyways, until I pass grossing in the next review, everyone, I'll talk to you later. God bless you all. Bye-bye.